Hey everybody, it's Perry with Premier Guitar here in Nashville, Tennessee for a very special rig rundown today with a guy that you might recognize, maybe. Probably never seen this guy around.
It's not special. It's not special.
Fluff, Ryan Bruce, dude, how the hell are you? Great to see you, man.
We used to run into each other randomly at NAMM.
All the time, yeah.
Hey.
Oh, hey bud, yeah.
Oh,
and we were actually, just so you guys know, we were trying to do a rig rundown with Ryan for a long time, and then the pandemic happened, and that kind of sucked. You know. Dude, do you get recognized more from your bands or from your YouTube? Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, honestly. Locally, where we're from in Seattle, we get recognized as band guys, but outside of our general area, it's the YouTube thing.
Is there much crossover?
Yeah, actually, but there's also a lot of people that will show up and go, oh, hey, I didn't know you were in this band.
Oh, that's funny.
Which is good.
Dude, I pulled up to shoot this and I saw some kid in a CME shirt and I was like, oh, okay, this must be a gearhead that found, dragged under through. Yeah.
I love it. It's awesome.
Dude, love your channel. I love what you do for the whole industry. I especially love the weird reverb listings. And I just watched episode 35 and I want to start with this because if you don't buy that fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles guitar, dude.
I was literally looking at it yesterday like, should I?
Dude, if it wasn't $3,000, I would have bought it already.
God, it's amazing.
So if you don't know about Ryan's channel, you need to go check it out anyway. But one segment on his channel is crazy reverb listings, and episode, I think it's number 35, has a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fucking BC Rich that somebody...
Warlock, that headstock's a piece of pizza.
It's ridiculous.
I might make an offer. I might message them like, hey.
Yeah, you know you're not gonna get $3,000, but would you work with me?
Deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should try to totally get it.
If it's like maybe a USA custom shop or something, it could be an awesome playing guitar.
Right.
You know.
I want more information.
I need a little more info on that. All right. So beyond your highly popular bands and YouTube, you're the busiest man in show business. You also have signature Fluence pickups.
I do. These just came out. This just came out. It's just a single bridge pickup. It's a humbucker. I was blessed enough. We went out with Beartooth and Wage War about a year ago, and I got to really fine tune the prototypes.
Oh, that's cool.
And which normally I'd have to sit at home and just kind of go, I think this is going to be all right, but we got to use it every night, and it's awesome. And Ken Susi and Larry Fishman, and everyone at Fishman is
they're awesome.
So supportive and awesome.
Man, my NAMM dinners with Larry Fishman are some of the most fun experiences of my life, dude.
That dude's got some stories.
He really does. He's been there and back, dude. Yeah. One cool, really amazing thing about the Fluence pickups, I was talking to Ken about this, in a normal situation, if you're doing a passive pickup, there's a lot of back and forth where you're sending shit back and forth, and they're overwinding and underwinding and doing all this stuff. But with the Fluence, it's kind of almost like a 3D printed circuit.
There's no winding. It's like pancake layers of different materials, and
cool as shit.
We actually had an experience. I was actually on top of where I am on stage at another venue. I was on top of the sub, and the body was resonating, like the frequency of the kick was it was wild. I was like, I think my pickup's microphonic, and they're like, the front of house guy was like, there's no windings in that thing. It
can't be microphonic.
Like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, cool. It's not my problem then.
I wouldn't have thought of that either. That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, technology's cool.
Yeah, technology is cool. I love that it's a single humbucker, but it has a single coil functionality, right?
So there's 3 different voices. Like the one I'm always on is voice 1, which is the super mega heavy, active, lots of low end, and then voice 2, which I'll typically go to for a verse section, is more. It's basically a passive Duncan JB. It's Willie Adler's voice 1,
right. Which is sick.
Willie was nice enough. Ken called him, and he was just like, "Hey, can Fluff steal your voice?" And he was like, "Sure, yeah, tell him to go for it."
Did you tweak anything?
No.
It was already that good.
No, his voice 1, that passive voice is real thick and throaty, but it's not muddy. It's perfect.
Man, yeah, they sound great. Ken talked me into getting a set of the Moderns. It took me a minute because I had previously been an EMG guy, and it almost I think you explained it in a video once where you're saying that it's almost too high def or something. It's almost
very
like being naked.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, it's very high definition.
Holy shit, you can hear every flub.
Which I use modelers and stuff, so I didn't like all of that because there's lots of top end and lots of and I was just like, please shave all of that off. Make the top end passive, but make the low end active.
Totally
get
that.
That's kind of how mine is voiced. My voice 1 is voiced now.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, it was just too hi-fi.
Yeah, which in certain contexts that could be awesome.
Totally.
I guess if you're playing country or something like that.
Absolutely.
The Greg Koch signatures are like fucking mind-blowing. Like,
Those are amazing.
those are so good, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, Larry's doing some good-ass business over there. I really love it. Yeah.
Love them.
So, out of curiosity, you got a couple of guitars on the road. Do they all have your signature pickup?
2 out of the 3 do. My drop D guitar has a classic and stuck in voice 2. And that's only because I didn't get the third one. The third one had to be used for a Sweetwater thing, the Sweetwater shoot. I had to go to them because there was only like a handful of initial run.
Sure.
Once we get home, another one will go in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sweetwater, man, you've done so much work with them. I just watched a shootout, like a distortion shootout.
With Ben.
Yeah, and the Metal Zone still sounds like shit. When I was a kid, it was like the only one you could get. But
Very
like,
specific. Why did we all have those as a kid anyway?
I think because there was no other. High gain wasn't a thing.
It was not a thing, and it had metal in the name.
It said
so,
metal, yeah.
So it had to be metal.
Shit, about as high gain as you could get when I was a kid. It was like maybe some sort of fucking weird Randall and Scoop the Mids or something.
Yeah, or the PV Rages that were like this big, and then, so then you had to like, I used to string a bunch of those together.
So, man, the world has come a long way.
It's a great time to be a guitarist.
It is a great time to be a guitarist, man, because of things like what we got at your feet, for example. You've recently switched to Fractal.
I did.
Which is, let's talk about that, because you have access to all the gear in the world.
Yeah, I can play anything I want, and I love all of the gear. For many years, Sean and I were on Helixes. Actually, Helix is the thing that made me transition from actual tube amps.
To modeling.
I used to tour with tube amps, but then we'd get to a club and like the voltage out of the wall would be like 100 volts. And so it would just sag out the rectifier and it would sound like a big muff. And like, so the Helix really helped me kind of really wrap my head around the possibilities of all the digital stuff. And I used that for many years, and I'm super proud of the tones that I got with it. And,
I love the Helix, man.
Dude, it's awesome.
Dude, you know what really changed my mind about the Helix, because I guess in my mind, like I'm thinking, line 6, modeling, little red kidney thing. You know, it's come such a long way from that.
Of course.
But man, Dustin from Thrice, it was like, holy shit, okay, you guys are using the thing.
Yeah,
like,
and he blends with the stereo out on his guitar.
Sick, dude.
Like, I was like, wait, what? Actually, I shot a video for his guitar, and it ended up I was trying to emulate that, and then they were like, well, just call him.
He'll just send you the patches.
And I was like, I just called what?
I guess I'll just call.
And so like I had to like text with Dustin, and I was like, hey,
Nicest
how do
guy
I?
ever.
And he explained he was going into the return, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. And then, like, that was all the conversation.
Those guys are super sweet artists.
But we were on Fractal for a long time, and then with the new album, we had to have a lot of pitch stuff going on. It's just a lot of DSP heavy stuff.
Sure.
And I had my band asking me, hey, can you get this closer to the record tone and acoustic guitar and all in the same song, acoustic guitar, whammy stuff, octave stuff.
Right.
In the same song. For like Crooked Halos.
For Dragged Under especially, it's, you got a lot of tones going on.
We have to have a ton of different tones, and it was basically just time to move on, and it was fine, it was okay. And I'm super happy with the Fractal stuff. I also got super into Marshalls right before we left out on tour, and so I took my JVM head and took the settings and put them into the Fractal, and that's the tone that you hear is just a JVM, unboosted JVM.
Wow. Yeah, so awesome. I guess that was going to be my next question. You know, obviously at your house there's amps galore. So did you like pick your favorites of those? And
pretty
like,
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then because for the record, our record tones are always Marshall, Friedman, Soldano.
Sure.
Always. So they're not really rectifier. People would probably think I'm playing rectifiers like in the Fractal, but I'm not. Too scooped.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, it's Marshall. It's all Marshall, and I think Sean's running a FAS, which is like their take on a Friedman or something.
Yeah. Which sounds awesome.
Cuts, it's so good.
It's zippy. Yeah, I really like that one too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite settings. So different players have a different approach to modeling. Some guys set up their controller like a pedal board.
Yep.
Some guys are banking, you know,
per song.
Yeah. Like, are you changing amps every song and every sound and all that shit? Or?
I have one single patch. So with the Fractal, I don't have to waste the 2 left controls that are like on the Helix. It's stuck with bank down and bank up.
Right.
And if you don't use that, then those go to waste. Whereas the Fractal, you can assign any foot switch to be anything you want. And it's awesome. So I have one big patch, and I just have all of the tones for all of the songs on one single patch. No more banking up and down.
That's so nice.
Dude, it's awesome, because we used to change the set list frequently, and so I was like,
oh, God,
hang on, I gotta,
let me get,
with the
open
laptop,
up, Axe Edit.
Yes, exactly. So I don't have to do that anymore. And it's awesome. I have tuner, lo-fi, heavy stuff, clean stuff, delay, Basically, how I have it set up is I have a bunch of scenes, and I utilize scene controllers, which is basically I'll go to the same patch, but I'll tweak the mid-range and the drive, and I'm just basically riding the drive and the mid-range depending on the tone that I want to get heavier, from lighter to heavier.
One thing that I absolutely love about modeling amps is that you can use multiple amps. Yeah. Is that, so are you just using that Marshall?
I'm just using the Marshall, and then I am switching for the clean tone to I think it's a Dr. Z amp.
Oh, sure, which makes sense for clean.
Yeah. So it's like a Dr. Z and a Marshall JVM OD2 red channel, unboosted, and that's basically it with a bunch of whammy stuff.
Man, I haven't thought about Dr. Z in a long time, but for a while, that was like,
This is the tone.
Dude, they're amazing. Dude, they sound fucking phenomenal.
Insane.
But yeah, that was like all the rage in the country world for a hot minute there with Paisley and all those dudes like ripping those things, man. I love modeling because you can have all those amps, you know. If you're poor like me,
the world is at your fingertips.
You
can just like, oh, what am I into?
This rules. Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Well, pretty Spartan setup because you are running the Axe Effects, but you do have a cab on stage just for stage volume?
We do have cabs for stage volume. We have to be as compact as possible. So my setup is literally the guitars into a Sennheiser EWD wireless into the Fractal, and that the cab is being pushed by a Matrix power amp. And that's literally it. We like the stage volume because our singer likes to take out an ear.
Sure.
And he likes to hear it and feel it, and as do I.
I get it.
Gives you a real cool 3D effect, and also if you have a dry stage, it's pretty weird as a listener.
Oh yeah.
Like if they have just the sound going through the PA, I don't know, I find that kind of weird.
Yeah, it's odd.
It's odd. Unless you're in like a really big place,
right?
Then fine. But for our music, we like to run.
Totally. So are you everybody on ears?
Mm-hmm. Everyone's on ears. All I basically hear is my guitar, a click, and my backup vocal.
Damn. Well, because you can probably hear the drums right through them. Anyway.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we've yet to play a place big enough to not hear the drums.
Yeah, totally.
Because our drummer's gnarly.
Well, hell yeah, dude. I've known you to be an Ernie Ball guy for a long time. Yep. What's the deal with this bass boat looking thing?
This is
beautiful.
Basically my number one. I call it my 1A. We have another guitar that I basically switch between every night. This was a custom Stingray. I like Stingrays, and Music Man made this for me in 2019. This has basically been my main touring guitar. Leo Fender originally designed these in the late 70s, and you can totally see like this is a little bit of a Mustang. This is a Jag a little bit. It's kind of
it's almost offset, but kind of not. Yeah.
Right. And I love these guitars.
Yeah, the shape's cool.
Shout out to Tim Dove and Brian Ball and the Ball family.
They're awesome.
They've been unbelievable to me, and I can basically text Brian and go, "Hey, you would be sick." And he would go,
"Yeah, I got it on the way."
that would be cool. Like, he's such a guitar nerd, and I love that about him.
Love that, yeah.
So yeah, this is basically my number one. Everyone calls it Mr. Sparkle.
It is very sparkly.
Simpsons reference.
Makes me want to like go bowling or maybe fishing.
Yeah, it's
I love it.
It's very, very cool. I like the Sparkle because I'm a '90s kid.
Yeah.
And back, when Chris Cornell was playing like the Sparkle Gretches, and like you had Everclear, and you had like Brian Leisgang from Filter playing custom shop Fender red Sparkle guitars. Like,
shit's sick.
I don't know, man. I love the.
And that's almost
Sparkles.
like a fucking 3D Sparkle too. It is.
Right.
Man.
No one does Sparkle finishes like music.
It's insane.
No.
You definitely would not want to be on hallucinogens looking at that for too long.
No, so this would be, this is just awesome.
Yeah, it's great, dude.
Feels good.
Yeah, and then roasted maple neck, I'm guessing?
This is a roasted maple neck here. I'm just going to take this off.
Yeah.
Roasted maple neck, and
it's sick.
It's just a real nice cut of wood.
It really is.
It can get cold, it can get hot, the neck never moves.
Yeah, I've heard that they're really stiff. I've never owned a roasted maple neck, but I've heard that they're a little more stiff than you
really,
would expect.
really stable.
Yeah.
Really stable.
Which is good for you. You guys
love
are
that.
touring all over the country, and currently our temperatures wildly
Oh
vary.
yeah, we went over to Europe, and I was like, oh man, it's like wildly different weather over here, and like the plane gets real cold and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Let's take a look at maybe 1B.
Yeah, all right. All right, so this is my other main.
Oh, dude, I love it. One fucking knob.
One knob.
That's my kind of guitar, dude.
I want one knob. Myself and Tim over at Music Man are blank nuts. This wasn't specifically meant to kind of emulate, because everyone always sees the picture and goes, oh, you're trying to copy Tom DeLonge from the 99, which actually was not the case. I'm a Jerry Cantrell dude.
Me too.
And I love the single pickup Rampage style. Again, Leo Fender is a genius. And I love this color, and I have other guitars this color, and Tim made it happen. And this guitar has a wildly larger neck for some reason.
Larger meaning profile, or
Yeah,
okay.
the profile is just really thick and beefy. I don't know why, but this is also a mahogany-bodied, custom one-off tour guitar they made me, and it's fallen out of the case and off the stage a couple of times.
So it's pretty damn good. There's
It's
only
starting
one.
to- Yeah, it's starting to get kind of beat up, which I like. This thing has been an absolute rock. This is my other drop C sharp guitar.
Gotcha.
This is our main tuning. This is drop C sharp.
Right on. And so, before we move on to just your drop D guitar,
Yeah.
what are you doing different gauges for the drop D guitar?
I am drop C sharp is 11 to 54 paradigm.
That's not
beefy slinkies.
Yeah,
basically.
okay.
They're awesome, and I love the paradigms because you can stretch them and just be done.
Love that too. That's
Yeah,
nice.
they're absolutely awesome. So okay, so
Yeah.
now we have the weird one. So this is a weird. This started life as a stock Stingray, and this was made for another band that isn't around anymore, and it never got delivered, and it sat in a warehouse. It sat in their warehouse, and I was really into Stingrays. I'm really into Stingrays, and Tim over at Music Man was just like, "Hey, we got this guitar. Do you want this thing?"
It's such a sexy color too.
I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
what is that?" So this is my drop D guitar, 11 to 52.
Sure. It obviously had a multiple pickup situation at one time.
Yes. So they basically just capped it and single volume, and that's it.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's light. It's much lighter than the ones that were made for me. It's fine. It's workhorse. I went to Europe with me. It gets beat. It came dented. That's why it like sat in our warehouse. It had some dings, and I was like, I don't care.
Who cares?
I'm gonna
We'll
tour
beat
it.
the
So,
shit out of
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So
Speaking of, you have remarkably in shape guitars for a dude that is putting as much mileage on them.
I know, right?
Like, dude, I'm kind of blown away. I do this for a living all day, every day, and it's like most people's shit is pretty fucked up. You know what I mean?
I know, and like I get how that happens. Like it's the trailers. It's
Yeah.
not stage time. It's the trailers. It's the cases
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. I take pretty good care of my stuff, and they live in a quantum case, and so they're pretty well protected.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically the three guitars. These do the entire set.
Yeah, that's
So,
great, man.
yeah, they're
I love
awesome.
that color. It's such a weird, like,
Malibu Gold.
is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost looks like a cool Monte Carlo from the 70s
That's
or something.
exactly exactly what I thought. Like an old Buick Riviera.
Yeah, totally.
Let me drive an old Riviera
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. And this has a Fishman classic in it.
Oh, cool.
Which is awesome. And it's well suited for drop D.
Well, hell yeah, dude. I think that just about covers it,
Yeah.
man. Don't forget to subscribe to Fluff's channel, Riffs, Beards, and Gear.
I mean, don't forget to subscribe to Premier Guitar.
If you're not already subscribed, would you just do that? Because it would really help me out.
Subscribe.
Yeah, and if you have a drummer that's as dorky as you are, tell them about the Drum Rundown series we just started. So that's really fun.
I'm stoked about that.
Yeah, you got to check it out, man.
awesome.
It's funny shit.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Dude, appreciate you.
Have a great show.
See ya.